Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you after Game 6 of the Nuggets versus Thunder series. As always, I'm joined by Andrew Combo, Salop, and also Jim Park, referee, and you're going to help us break down some plays. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, guys, Combo and Chip, for being with us as well. Crazy. Immediate thoughts. Were we expecting this or not?
I was.
Okay. Why?
Because they have the best player on the court.
They do. Okay. So you're going now. The MVP's coming out in a minute, right?
I mean, Jokic should be the MVP. That's a regular season award, though. But yeah.
Yeah.
I love combo hitting in with the controversy right off the bat with the conversation between SGA and Joker.
I mean, do you guys think it's close between the best player in the world and everybody else? He did struggle a little bit this series, though, so I could see somebody's point if they want to say it's closer than that. But, I mean, there's such a sample size of him being the best player in the league for a long time now.
Yeah, I think SGA is going to win it. I just think the narrative took over, and that was it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at that. Yeah.
But, you know, and he's deserving of it. He was great this year.
Yeah, and I think he's deserving of it, too. But it is hard to argue with Combo on that because – I still think even though despite Joker's struggles this series early in the series, which you outlined in your video, Coach, I think that he's still the best player in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right now, certainly.
So
to answer your first question, though, I think you asked at the start of the series, would I be surprised if Denver wins this game? We all picked OKC to win in 6, right? So, that was kind of where my head was at originally in this series, but going into this game, I just really felt the Nuggets were going to turn it on tonight. But it was nip and tuck for the large majority of the game, man. I mean, like lead change after lead change, 3-point game, just, nobody was running away with it. And then what the heck happened?
Strother happened.
Strother happened, comes off the bench and just goes absolutely nuts for him. And that was the 8-0 run to end the third quarter or 8-2 run or whatever it was. And then no looking back really for him. So
I've got a Strother stat for you. In the 5 games up until this game in this series, he had scored a total of 14 points, and he scored 15 in the fourth quarter alone. Totally just out of the blue. And this is interesting because high pressure game, stakes are all-time high for the Nuggets or else they'll lose. And, it's the guy that comes in that doesn't have any pressure on him at all, right? Like, maybe he's got pressure on himself that he puts on there, but, like, they're just hoping he can kind of keep an equilibrium while he's in there. But you could see it from as soon as he checked in, you could kind of see it in his eyes. The way his body was moving, I thought, was even before he started hitting the shots, he was aggressive, and there was something different about him. And I wonder if he put that in the bottle and drink it for a Sunday. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know, but I noticed exactly what you noticed. He was playing loose and free and having fun. And once that first 3 went in, it was just, he was gone.
Did I said Sunday? Am I right with that? Or is it Saturday when it's next to Game 7? I think there wasn't, let's see here. Saturday is nothing. So it's gotta be Sunday.
Sunday. Yep.
Yeah. So it's Sunday, 12:30 or weird early game. So that was a huge thing. I also thought was really, really big that coincided a little bit with what when Strother was doing his business was that Jokic got an extra long rest to start the fourth quarter, and they were able to keep that lead. That was huge, it enabled for him to kind of just be fresh and come back in. Then when he comes back in, he kind of takes control, hits a 3, hits a 2. So we have some interesting things. Let's get to our first super chat. And don't forget, if you want your question answered, the best way to do that is on the super chat side with the YouTube. It'll help us keep the show going. We really appreciate it. We'll put you on the screen, give you a lot of love and hype. And our first one is from Julius Wyatt. Thank you so much, Julius. Really, really appreciate it. Do the Wolves match well with both of these teams? We're already going through to the next series, the Western Conference Finals. Combo, what do you think? Who matches up better with the Wolves?
I actually think the Wolves might have an easier time with the Nuggets because of how the youth they play, at times, even though they have Hartenstein, they play 5-out basketball, fast basketball, OKC. I think it might cause them problems, that youth, that speed, and that two-way play. So I actually think Denver, who I think plays a slower game, right, might benefit the T-Wolves. They don't play slower than OKC?
This year, Denver, I think, led the league in pace, or they really changed their way they were playing and pushed it. Now, then again, Mike Malone's gone. We need to check the pace recently. But
OKC plays one of the fastest paces, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah.
But
I think the Pacers probably play the
Pacers.
fat. Yeah, the Pacers probably play the fastest.
yeah, I'll tell you right now who's
In the
fast.
playoffs, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the playoffs get a little bit skewed on that on the pace anyway. But if you want to know for the regular season, let's just do that first. The leader in pace in the regular season was the what? Oh, is this right? Okay. According to this, the fastest pace was the Memphis Grizzlies, then the Bulls and the Hawks and the Wizards, and then OKC is fifth. Denver was eighth. So they're kind of close, and the Pacers were seventh.
I guess that's not necessarily an indicator of being a great team. I guess playing
no, or a great offense. It was really interesting. So it used to be a little bit, but now I think that's changed a lot. So anyway, I think that the problem that the Wolves are going to have is that the Rudy Jokic matchup is not good for Minnesota, right? Like, I mean, it's not good for anybody, I guess is the point, but I think it's particularly bad.
Well, I don't think I would put Rudy on somebody else and let him roam.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what we had seen with the Lakers doing that, and then we could do that as well. It's hard to know. But Denver and OKC are so different that it's not to figure out. What,
you could put Rudy on Westbrook if Westbrook's playing.
Yeah, and Russ was really not good tonight. He did have a couple of good tip-ins, and he had a dunk at the very end. So luckily, he kind of came through when he needed to at the very, very end. But I was worried. And the recipe by the way, for him is before he went in that last time and got that dunk, he had played, I think, 19 minutes in the game. And like, that's really the key, is that sweet spot. We've been talking about that for a while now, is that 20, 21, 22 minutes where you can get like some good stuff from him. You can limit the minutes where he'll hurt you. And that's really where it is. And I think that was part of the problem. Mike Malone ended up not keeping his job, was I think they were playing him, more minutes than that. And they were struggling. So, all right, we have another super chat here. It looks like
real quick, back to Julius's question or whatever. So my hot take is I had the Wolves in the finals, making it to the finals.
Oh, really?
So I have them matching up well against either of these two teams, because keep in mind too, Joker does present some challenging matchups for them, but they still have some size and some length and some really good defenders that can match up. Okay. So you could throw a couple different looks at him, whether it's Randall or McDaniels or this, that, and the other, and try to mix some things up. I like the athleticism of the Wolves, and my hot take was that the Wolves are making the finals, so I'm sticking with them having the best matchup over either of those two.
And also, they're really, I mean, who's going to guard? Let's say OKC is playing them. Who's guarding Randall? Like, Chet won't be able to handle that at all, I don't think.
Right.
And that's an interesting issue. Now, what we saw, which was a nice adjustment by the Thunder, was they put Chet on Christian Brown in the fourth quarter. I got to go check if they did it again tonight, but that screwed up the Nuggets offense a little bit in Game 5, and we'll have to see how that works. But again, when Chet did get switched on to Jokic, it was terrible for them. Jokic was scoring at will, so that's a real problem for the Thunder with Chet. Like if he's going to have to guard someone who's really big and really powerful, that was what we were afraid of coming into the league. And it's still a thing, right? I mean, he can recover to some degree, but it's not working at this level, deep in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Someone wants to know why I haven't broken down a single Wolves win. I don't know. I think I just, whenever I can grab the day, and I can only make one video in a day, and we had all these, multiple games, and then I guess I missed the game. The Game 5 win over the Warriors. It was a blowout. It just didn't seem like a great game to break down. But don't worry, you're guaranteed to get plenty of Bulls breakdowns now in the conference finals. So at any rate, we think that the Wolves match up well with both of these teams. Is what you're saying? They have enough for both.
I do.
Yeah. I think, and Randall, I think, will be a key. Now, Randall against Gordon is interesting if they play Denver. Like that's something that can, there'll be a lot of bruising. Now, Gordon has a hammy. It looks like, right?
Yeah, I just saw that at the end, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, he got it on a play where they threw the ball away where they didn't need to. They shouldn't have. It was a bit dumb play, and that's what happens, right? Kind of like with Tatum. If Brown hadn't fumbled the ball, Tatum isn't stepping back to go after the loose ball. It wasn't like, and it wasn't too hard. It was a pass. It was there. It should have just caught it. It should have been clean. Mm-hmm. So it's like these horrible things and these weird mishaps that lead to other stuff, which is why you got to be really precise when you're playing in this level. And if Gordon is out, then I don't know. That Strother ain't gonna do it again, is he?
Nope.
So
I don't think so.
Do the Nuggets have any hope of winning Game 7 on the road without Gordon?
They have. I think they can, but they can't win the championship without him. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think Game 7 is going to be interesting. I really do.
Yeah.
And it depends on if Gordon's able to go or not.
Yeah. Let's get to our next super chat. Thanks so much from Captain Cook. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Although it looks like that is from Breaking Bad. Is that what the Breaking Bad? That's what it looks like to me. I don't know. Anyway, Game 7 winner prediction. Okay, that's a good question. We're going to get to that. The home team still wins a bunch of these games, even though it's not as profound as it used to be. I don't know. I'll go first. I predict. Well, certainly, I don't feel good if Gordon's going to be. Let's say he plays, but he's got like a hamstring issue. That doesn't make me feel really good. I don't know if Strawther's going to do it again. So I think I'm going to have to go with OKC at home.
I'm going Denver.
Oh yeah,
experience.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was where I was leaning on experience. I just feel, I don't know, maybe it's a gut feeling. I feel whether Gordon's there or not, or whether he's hamstrung or not. Sorry for the pun. Then I still think OKC is going to get it done at home.
Yeah. Now, but Combo, it is a great point that they're the youngest team in the playoffs right now, and they're the youngest team in the league, whatever they are. It wasn't great. Like tonight, SGA wasn't great by any means, and he disappeared for big stretches.
He don't seem like he has like a sense of urgency at times, but that's kind of his game. That's kind of his game. He's like a calm hooper. But
what were the minutes that he finished with? Because I know he had to sit with early foul trouble.
He had a hand thing too. He had some kind of hand thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? He shot much better than I thought. He shot 11 for 16. I don't know. For some reason, I think maybe what I was responding to then is like he just seemed to disappear, which is hard to imagine that anybody could do that who scored 32 points in a game. But, there was moments they needed him, and he wasn't there to help him. And then certainly J-Dub was not giving him anything.
Man. No, he didn't.
Yeah, he had a nice steal, and then he just totally fumbled a layup.
Yeah. Well, he was going way too fast, right? He
did one of those things where it was like stuck in between a dunk and a layup.
Yeah. At that speed, it's hard to get lift that high. And I think he didn't really get high enough. So I thought he was just going to lay it in, and that was bad. You know what? And as they closed the game, right, they got it to, what was it? How close did it get by the end there? 9?
8.
8? Like, that
usually
big.
Usually don't see mishaps like that at the NBA level. You see it more in like high school, like an athletic high school kid, like an athletic college kid.
Right. Yeah. But you also won't see mishaps like that from the Nuggets again, because they're too good of a team and too experienced. They're not going to start throwing the ball away.
Well, yeah, I think you would say that could happen to Russ. What happened to?
That's why I got nervous when they put Russ back in. But it all, that was a nice. It was still a 9-point cushion. It was a cushion enough. But I don't think they'll do it again. Now, the other thing that came through for them obviously was Jamal Murray, who I guess was sick, and when they didn't know he was going to play much.
Flu game.
Yeah, he had his flu game.
What's going on with Porzingis? Not to change the subject.
Well, we could change the subject if you like. Porzingis, long COVID. No one seems to know what it is.
Okay.
It's very concerning.
It is.
Yeah. I think it was since February he's been struggling with no energy.
Crazy.
So I really don't know what that is, and you'd think that they could figure it out after this long, and it's killing them, right? Or I mean, it's
well, I mean, Derek White stepped up big time. I mean, the whole team did. So yeah.
Well, yeah, Jaylen Brown though was Jaylen Brown as well. He was terrific.
100%.
Yeah, and so that's an interesting showdown we have now for the Knicks and the Celtics.
So. Yeah, but what do you think? Like, I think obviously the best version of the Celtics is when JT is playing. I mean, that's obvious, right? But they do get to a place where there's better ball movement easier when it's only one of them playing.
Okay. Yeah.
You just think it stalls too much when they're both
not obviously when it's ball movement and they're both playing, it's the best, right?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's harder to get there than when it's only one of them, if that makes sense.
It's funny. Did you see that video that the guy he's on? I don't know if it's Fox Sports, and he's maybe a football player.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know KD went at him, but okay. So what exactly did he say? Because I don't think their ceiling is obviously higher without JT. If that's what he's saying,
his point was interesting. I don't know if it's right, but he was basically saying there were moments when, like, the the Celtics were up by 14 or 15, and Tatum would just jack up a three, and they would miss, and then they'd race back down, they'd score again. Like that's what was letting the Knicks kind of sneak back in, because he just shoots his own shots, doesn't necessarily have a sense of like score and any whatever. And then they didn't do that last night, so like they were able to build on that lead and keep it, and it didn't let
Yeah, I don't.
It's not necessarily. I have to go back and look at how they lost its first two leads in games 1 and 2 anyway, because it would be interesting if that really was the case. But he was definitely criticizing Jason Tatum's shot selection, I think is what he was trying to say. And then that was funny because I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden you see KD as the first reply. You're like, whoa, okay, shots fired.
KD fried him too. He was you can't listen to anybody who's going to stop their career to go into media, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and then Kendrick Perkins with almost a shot at KD. Did you see that?
No.
He said something like, "That's the first time I've agreed with you," or I don't know.
Oh well,
yeah. So
I think they're always going back and forth, right?
Always, yeah.
Teammates, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Perk is a magnet for anybody who wants to throw strays. But we have best friend of the breakdown, Ven. Great to see you, Ven. As always, love to have you. Denver versus the Knicks finals, or Minnesota or Pacers. I mean, I can tell you what the league probably is hoping for. Can you imagine? Timberwolves Pacers? Can you imagine that it's a finals?
The old small market finals.
I think only like people who really are into basketball will be watching.
And it would be good. It was good. Listen, I really want to do a video on the Pacers offense, and I don't know if people would watch it, but
I would watch it because I love the player movement, the ball movement, the speed in which they play with. Yeah. I think it's awesome. And then honestly, even from like a GM standpoint, like they made a lot of good moves over the course of time. They added Pascal at the right time. That's exactly who they needed. So they never really tanked too bad. Like they did a lot of great things, and it's showing.
Yeah,
I think both would be a entertaining finals, but obvious, large market would probably do better. Obviously, I wonder if Ben's asking which do we think is more probable, a Denver versus Knicks finals or a Minnesota versus Pacers?
Minnesota Pacers, I think, is more probable.
I think it's more probable than Denver versus New York.
Yeah, I do too. I think Pacers. I think Pacers beat the next team, especially since JT's out. Even though they have a long way to go,
Yeah, and they certainly could be the Knicks. Minnesota, you guys like Minnesota for making the finals?
I mean, I think it's more probable. I think a Minnesota Indy final is more probable than a Denver versus New York final.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it has more to do with me thinking the Pacers would best the Knicks if the Knicks get past this Boston series. But also, I did pick Minnesota to make the finals. So
I would put my money on Denver Pacers. But the Aaron hamstring thing does obviously weigh into that, right? So
Well, and and then we also have the last year's Pacers Knicks result, which went in Indiana's favor, and they wore them down over the course of I think it was 7 games, right?
And the Pacers are a lot better now, and you know they're not a new team either, like the Knicks,
right?
I mean, Knicks are playing well, but
they're a little bit new with Cat, so it is a little bit different.
No, I'm saying Pacers aren't new.
Yeah,
the Knicks are new.
So
they're on the rise, man. 2 consecutive years in the Eastern Conference Finals for the Pacers, man. They're on the rise for sure.
Oh yeah, and give Carlisle a lot of credit too. And but Nembhard is the new Derek White, I guess, right? And
he's not as big, right?
No, but he's just kind of like the guy who had struggled. He got in the league, wasn't playing whatever, and now he's a starter. He's a legit starter, and he can just score just like in that same way. And he can play defense. He doesn't block shots like Derek White, but man. And the question I was asking some coaches, well, what do you do against the Indiana's offense? Because it's basically a fast break in the half court, and they move the ball so fast. My only answer would be some version of you have to be able to deny at least one of those passes. You have to be able to take away a pass somehow in that, with your positioning. Otherwise, if you're letting them play catch, it's like, you're not going to catch up.
That's fair. I like that.
Yeah. And that's hard. It's hard against pros to play denial defense. But you probably have that sort of target. If you did, there's probably a way to do it with AI or whatever, where wherever the first pass goes on all their scores, there might be a pattern there, right? And then you can tell your team, okay, we're taking away that first pass. Whatever you do, like deny that, make them go to a second version of that, a second progression, and see how that goes. That would be some person what I would do to help them, because otherwise it's kind of hard to try to pick and choose which pass you're going to want to try and deny. I know, like back in the day, that's what the Bulls would do with Phil Jackson. He wouldn't even have to ask him to play defense as hard as they can the whole game. He would say, just give us like 15 possessions across the whole game of like great defense. Honestly, that's what he would do. 15 out of the 80, 20 maybe. Maybe they don't, of the 15, they might score on, I don't know, 4 of them. And then you win by 8 or 9. Like, it was a good formula for a long grind of a season with those players. And it's really, you couldn't argue with the results.
What team was this?
The Bulls.
What years?
Phil Jackson Bulls.
The what?
The Phil Jackson Bulls, Michael Jordan, you heard of him?
Yeah.
He's a pretty big deal.
He's going to be a contributor on NBA on NBC.
I know. That's crazy.
Did we talk about that before or no?
We talked about it, yeah.
We're trying to figure out what that's going to look like, and no one seems to know.
No one seems to know.
Right. Well, I mean, I think what we were conjecturing was he'll sit in on a game and like do some analysis, and then But I don't see him doing it for the whole game. I mean, maybe we'll see.
Right. Do you think there's a way, a defense that could get Pascal and Ty to play more one-on-one, or that's almost impossible against this team?
Well, Halliburton one-on-one happens anyway, I guess, right? Like he'll
but even more of it instead of the ball movement and player movement,
Yeah. Well, so there's your denial stuff where kind of deny and let them, and maybe like let one of them go off, or if you let Halliburton go off and they shut everyone else down, is that a recipe? Probably. Maybe. You keep his assists down to 5 or 6, and if he gets 30, it's probably something you can handle. Again, the Celtics, it's tough without Tatum. You're taking the best player on the rotation out. There's going to, and by the way, it didn't seem to be ineffective in Game 6. Amazingly.
You think Tatum's their best defender or Brown?
I've always sort of liked Brown better as a defender. So I think I'll stick with that even now, even this year.
Okay.
I agree.
Let's get some more super chats. We have Bron, best friend of the breakdown. Bron, great to see you as always. Thanks so much. Feels like Jokic has a 100% makeup call rate. Chip, what are your thoughts about makeup calls?
Hey, good question, Bron. Hey, thanks for chiming in, man, and thanks for being on the show. When it comes to makeup calls, I would love to tell you, and I can tell you that they don't exist. You may not believe me, but what I'm going to say is this: our philosophy is, if we get one call wrong, we don't want to make it worse by getting another call wrong, because at the end of the day, our call accuracy percentage is at stake, and it hinders us, or it either prevents us or propels us from moving on to future rounds and stuff like that. And they are under the microscope. I'll say this too. Now in this day and age, it would be much harder to play the makeup call game as an official, because you've got so much scrutiny. Everything's on video. You got so many different camera angles. You can tell if you're getting BS'd by a ref on a makeup call or something like that. So it's not really a thing anymore. I can understand how some people may feel that way based on the timing of a whistle, especially if there's like a marginal call that goes one way or another. And then, flip-flop it on the other end right after that. So a lot of people are programmed to think that that's automatically a makeup call when it's not. What I can say is, like, we just have to look at the plays on their face and see and not just in a vacuum too, we can see if it matches calls that have gone out throughout the game. And that can kind of give us a better understanding of, objectively, were these calls correct, or were these incorrect calls that shouldn't have gone this way because they didn't go that way earlier. Does that make sense? Looking at some of the calls that Jokic received tonight in his favor versus the ones that did not go in his favor, I think it balanced out. I don't think any of them really stuck out to me. I think we talked, Coach Nick, we talked about the Jokic foul on Chet in transition, where he's still moving forward into him and does a slight body glance while he's moving forward. And it's just as Chet is going up. So he's kind of impacting his balance in midair. And that's why Chet falls. Maybe he doesn't have to fall that way. Maybe embellishes a little, but still at the end of the day, that's the correct call that went against Jokic on that one. But it's just that those are one of those marginal ones. Right. But I didn't see a makeup call on that after that. So
yeah, and those are the plays that Chet needs to get better at, because that slightest bit of bump can't affect him as much as it did, or unless he was embellishing. But I don't think he was. I think he, it's easy to knock him off of his balance, and that's the next level. I mean, he's so long. Who knows if he'll ever be able to like gain serious weight and strength? But it'll really help. There was another call though I thought we were talking about. Now I'm blanking. In the second half,
Coach Nick, do you think Michael Jordan, since we were talking about him, ever was a recipient of a makeup call in his whole career?
Yeah, I think we had makeup calls back in the day. I can remember that, But then again, Michael would get, obliterated, and really be handled. So
that's true.
So I think makeup calls were some version of what was going on. And I think we were talking about this earlier, Chip, when you were on the show. We're doing one on the Brunson foul grifting, and I think if I can get it done by tomorrow, where Brunson got tripped by Horford, and everyone on Twitter seemed to be really upset about it. But back in the day, the referees were different, and they had more of a control over the game. And I don't want to say that as if I'm trying to criticize today's referees. It's a different game. The balance of power is different. Like the salaries are way different. Everything is different. But guys like Daryl Garrettson, Earl Strom, Ronnie Nunn, those guys would come on that court, and they had a tighter control over this. And so when I was going back looking for in this video, I wanted to find some clips of like maybe Michael foul grifting, right, or Karl Malone, the guys who had the most free throw attempts in the league all time. And I gotta tell you, the one thing I sort of noticed was that a lot of those guys didn't try and initiate a lot of contact, at least, in the small sample size I was looking at, but it was not tiny. There was more of like avoiding the defender, trying to get around and finish. And then certainly there was not as much complaining to the referees. Those guys did not complain to the refs like we see now. It's a real interesting difference.
Well, and like I told you earlier today, it's because the referees back then wouldn't take that crap. You know what I mean? They'd curse right back at them. You know what I mean? Like it was like, you're going to bring this to me, I'm going to bring that same energy right back to you. But yeah, I mean, like it's different. Like we talked about earlier today when we were recording for the breakdown is, it's the players today, and I'm not saying they're smarter or more high IQ, but they're finding ways and they're evolving to find more ways to take advantage of the rules that are currently in place. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it could be, and it could be interpreted that way. But if they see a defender is not in legal position and they go right at him, they know the foul is going to be on the defender. So why would you not do that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just some of it's being a high IQ player and being headsy, but like, some of it I can understand why some fans would not enjoy that.
Yeah, it's an evolution, just like the evolution of the ball handling and shooting. The foul drawing is an evolution, and the best players would do it. That's the name of the game. It's why we teach offensive moves, right? Because even if they don't foul you, you're putting in a situation where they kind of have to back off so you can get the shot off for fear of fouling you, right? Like that is the biggest part of like being a good scorer. Back in the day, the most that you'd ever see it would be a shot fake. The guy would get in the air and they jump into him and draw the foul. No one ever had a problem with that until now. Like all of a sudden, that's a big problem. Even though at the one where we have with Jalen Brunson jumps, the guy's Derek White's behind him, runs up his back, and he jumps quickly and he runs into him. That still triggers people and makes them really upset. When that's a very similar version to what we'd seen with and guys back in the 80s, they would take you out. Like if you got up in the air, they would jump right in to make sure that you got a foul call. So it's not that new. And I have a feeling that if we had Twitter back then, you'd still have the same thoughts. And Chip and I, we've talked about this before, is that when it benefits your team, then you love the way they call the game, right? And then when it goes against your team, then you can't stand it. It's the whole game is I'm turning it off. No one's ever going to watch a game. And meanwhile, we're here just trying to you dipped your toe, Chip, and I know you regretted it on that discussion with Brunson foul when Horford trips him, because the reaction to you and I just explaining the rules in a very calm, respectful manner is ridiculous. They're like attacking us personally for just explaining the rules. It's unbelievable.
It reminded me a little bit of why I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from posting on X this season. But it's all good. Like, and I always say this too. It's good training for me because I have to be on the court. If people come at me hot and heavy on stuff and like they're cursing or yelling or they're being, demonstrative, I have to be calm in the face of that. And so I try to practice that in my replies on Twitter and just be respectful back to them in the face of that, and hopefully just explain the rule a little bit better. It's good practice.
You don't have a burner account, Chip, so you could just go
No.
off and blow off
No,
some
I
steam?
do not have a burner account.
Okay,
No,
okay.
but I
The burner account. Combo, your thoughts on Draymond calling out the spread? I think we mentioned it in the last show too, very briefly before it came out publicly, and they fined him for that. So what do you think?
Nah, I don't think you
Cliff
can do
side.
that.
Thank you, Cliff. Great to see you as always. Best friend of the breakdown.
It's bad optics at the end of the day. And you got to be careful with that kind of stuff because that's the integrity of the sport. So yeah,
he was doing it to the refs. Am I correct in
oh,
understanding?
I don't know. I mean, the camera was on him and he was doing it, but man, like,
So that was going to be my question to you guys, Combo. If you have any knowledge of it, like, was he doing it to the refs or was he actually doing it to his teammates?
I think he was doing it to his teammates, but I don't know.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was the other team or something like that, where it was like, oh no, right. It was because Kuminga scored at the very end after the game was over, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And he made it less than 5.5, right?
He made a bucket to break in or under the spread. Yep.
My take on it was they were yelling at him for doing that, like the other team, and so he was explaining or something like that, right, to the other team. But if it was the refs too, I mean, it wouldn't be for the refs. So, and anyway, either way, that's bad. Yeah, it's terrible. Optics are terrible. Like, because what are the implications? The implications that he was betting on the game, I guess, right, or something. I don't know.
It's just the my dad has always said avoid all appearance of wrongdoing, and that is not.
I don't think Draymond has ever gotten that advice, or if he has, he hasn't taken that very seriously.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
now
doesn't work by that advice.
The question comes up: was the draft rigged, and what we feel about that, considering what
happened? Do you want to hear a rant or no?
Oh boy,
sure.
I mean, what do you guys think? Patrick Ewing to the Knicks, D Rose to the Bulls. LeBron James went home. AD. And that was when actually the league controlled that team, and they denied the Chris Paul trade. Wemby to the Spurs, who are known to have great international talent, and now with Cooper, they just traded a generational talent. Cooper's known to be a generational talent. Everybody was saying, "Why did we do this trade?" Coincidence? I don't know. Is it? What do you guys think?
Oh, Chip.
I want to believe the best in things, and sometimes it can be confused with being a bit naive. So I don't want to tinker on that, but like I don't think that it's rigged. I don't.
I mean, there was the video that somebody shared that like seemed to prove that it couldn't have been because it's transparent. You could see how the balls came out and whatever.
I don't see how it could be. I genuinely.
All right, I'll tell when I actually got it by word of mouth that the Mavs got the #1 pick. My first thought was not even, it would usually be like Basketball Fit or something like that. It was like, oh my God, the conspiracy theorists are going to be talking about
all
this.
over it.
Wait, what's word of mouth mean? Like you got before the pick?
I was on a basketball court. No, I was on a basketball court. I didn't get it on Twitter. Somebody told me.
Oh, I see.
That's word of mouth. Yeah. Old school, old fashioned.
I mean, like someone told you like ahead of time, and then it came true. All right.
Oh, I had the script. That's how I knew Luka. That's how I knew Luka to the Lakers and Soto to the Mets. I have all the scripts, Coach Nick. But are we recording?
Somebody sent Combo a fax and said, "Hey, I need you to."
Coach Nick doesn't like when I get the information before him. He doesn't like that.
Well, it proves that we're all. And this is just there is no spoon. Which is possible too. Listen, I've seen those YouTube videos that talk about this. The whole thing is a matrix, and we don't even know it. But anyway, if that's the case, I'm glad that I'm in the primordial soup next to you guys, wherever we are feeding the. But at any rate, well, I think anything else we want. I mean, do we encapsulate this in that last game and our predictions all? And did we get all that done for Game 7?
I think it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's getting late on the East Coast. So I got to go eat dinner. But, I think this will be great. A couple of Game 7s. So what else can we ask for? Oh, it's tomorrow.
Oh, I got the man, that's a tough one, Coach Nick.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I'm going to say Celtics.
Wow. I'm going Knicks.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. I mean, it's going to be, yeah, it could go either way.
All right. Oh, you know what? Did I just predict there's going to be a Game 7 of that one too? Then
yeah.
Wait. Yes, because
tomorrow is Game 6.
What do you think, Coach Nick?
I think the Knicks are going to finish it. I think they're going to close it out in Madison Square Garden. Now, did you go down there the last time they played outside the Madison Square Garden? Because
I went to a watch party. This past one.
All right, because
yeah,
7th Avenue, whatever avenue is right outside. Like I've never seen that before.
I actually got invited to like be in an area where I wouldn't have to deal with that. So maybe I'll test it out.
I mean, I'm just saying, like that could be amazing, right? Like that many New Yorkers are in the middle of the street like that.
I don't know, man. I don't look at that. I mean, I think it's amazing for them, but I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, I don't want to be in the mosh pit, Coach Nick.
Dude, if I was a fan of that team, I would love to be there. It would be an exciting thing. I just don't know if I could handle it as just like an outsider, objectively. Like,
Yeah, no, that would be crazy. Like, especially because you come out of the subway stop there, and like that's what you have to.
Wait, this actually. Before you read the super check, it's an interesting super chat. Coach Nick, did you see signs that this was like a regular season team, the Cavs, throughout the course of the season, or you thought they were for real?
I don't know. It's so crazy how that all happened, right? I mean, Garland got hurt, and that didn't help anything.
Yeah.
And well, by the way,
that's true.
Mobley. I mean, that was tough to start the series that way. And so who knows? If they weren't injured, they win one of those games, and then suddenly the whole thing has changed. So
I mean, the Pacers just look better though. But I see what you're saying. With the
injuries. But yeah. I do wonder, and I do feel like part of it could have been those injuries. But you're right; like they were playing at a different speed, and that was the difference. Crazy.
Yeah.
Let's do the Jada race. I'm really disappointed in the Cavs more than any team that got sent home. Do you think running it back with the same core, or should they make some changes? I think they deserve another shot at it, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think Atkinson can do some good things with him. Honestly, I do. I think they're good. It's a good core.
Yeah, and they'll have after the trade, they'll have DeAndre Hunter for the whole year.
For the whole year, yeah.
That'll be important.
He's big time for them.
Yeah, and then Jerome will maybe figure some things out, and has got his feet wet in a high pressure stakes. And
they didn't seem to have a lot of weaknesses besides like the backcourt, the defense of the backcourt. That was the only like glaring weakness, Right.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, listen, I guess they can keep their eye on the first part of the season, and if we get sort of the trade deadline, then it's they can Jared Allen, who knows like what they're going to do. They may want to try and ride or die with Mobley at center instead. And go smaller or have more offensive firepower. I don't know, but yeah, I think they deserve at least a shot at at running it back again before they blow it up.
Well, let me ask y'all this: I'm trying to think back to the start of the playoffs. Like going into the playoffs, what was y'all's view of the Cavs' chances of getting out of the East?
I thought they could. I thought they were going to beat the Celtics.
You thought they would?
Yeah,
I thought the Celtics were going to win. I think
I always said the Celtics, but and I don't want to say the Cavs were an afterthought for me, but it was like that wasn't the first team I thought was going to win the East.
I hear you. I mean, I was out on the limb there, but I just felt like they matched up well. They had defenders who could handle that, and at the point of attack, where granted the backcourt might be letting some people get into the lane, but they could always adjust who they pick up. And if you have, Allen and Mobley patrolling, they could, in theory, stay home on some shooters and make it harder on them. And we're going to find out again, as far as the Celtics go, about their shooting too. It's like it's the variance is crazy from game to game and inside the game itself. Yeah. Where they go cold and they go hot. It's wild.
It is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I like the Cavs score a lot. I really do. Yeah. So I think they run it back. I think they need to give it another shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're still young. They're still on the ascendant.
Yeah.
They kind of maybe just overachieved a little bit this year, and the bar was just set higher than it should have been. That's another possibility too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for the show and being on here and staying up late with me. And we'll get back at it again after one of these games coming up. We'll see. So keep your notifications out on YouTube and anywhere else you watch this. And thanks everybody over in the super chat side from Julius, Captain Cook, Ben, Bron, Cliffside, and Jada Race. Thank you guys so much for being part of our show in that way. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, guys?
Yes, sir.